Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Vanessa with Amoretti, and today we are going to be sitting down with Mark at Westport Winery here in Washington. Mark, I understand that you are the head distiller and also the head winemaker.
That's true, yes. My background is in winemaking and I've been doing it for most of my life.
Wow, so most of your life, can you put that into perspective for us? How long have you been in the winemaking industry?
My first vintage was in 2008. I was actually hired by a vineyard and I was doing the vineyard stuff, and they needed help during crush, during the vintage. So I started that very first vintage and just part of their winemaking team.
Okay, and so is that when you discovered your passion for wine?
Yes, well, I was a young man and I hadn't tasted very much wine at that point. So after I started tasting like world-class wines, I was like, wow, it was an instant passion for me.
It was a game changer.
It was. It's like one of those things where you have the opportunity to dedicate your life to something, and it's something that I'm really passionate about.
That's good, because when you are very passionate about something, it really does translate to your finished product. Mm-hmm. So would you say, or would you agree that that's kind of why Westport has been successful? Because you're relatively new to the distilling aspect of things, right? But sure. Wine, obviously, you're a veteran.
This is my comfort zone. Like, I love wine. I could talk about wine forever. It's like I have like my encyclopedic love of wine and all wine things.
Well, you should know a lot about what you're doing.
It's true.
Okay. So can you kind of walk us through the process of wine making first? Because I know you guys use Amoretti in wine, but what is like the base process of making a good wine?
Yeah, so we actually do a lot of different wines. We have an entire lineup of classic dry wines that are made in a traditional way. And then we do things that are fun, they're not traditional, but things that really pique our interest and pique our customers' interest. So we have a whole lineup of fruit wines that are made with real fruit. Some we add fruit to, things like Riesling and Gewürztraminer, and some we actually ferment the fruit themselves, the actual raw product of the fruit. So we have a whole lineup of wines that we use Amoretti for as well. And the one that we're doing today is actually chocolate, mixing chocolate and red wine.
Awesome. Well, let's get started, because I'm excited to see what you guys do, how you incorporate wine and Amoretti products together, and you're the expert, so.
So my biggest thing is I have to figure out, you guys have so many lovely flavors that I have to figure out which one to use. So we have three that I've chosen. We have fudge, we have the chocolate chip, and we have the Crème de Cacao. Okay. So those are like three really good candidates that I've tried before in the past. So what I've gone and done is I've created three different like high concentrations of Amoretti. So it's 5 milliliters of Amoretti in 100 milliliters of wine. Okay. So that you would never use that, when you're doing these small batches, you would never use that high concentration. But what this allows me to do is just in 20 milliliters here, it allows me to get 1 milliliter of Amoretti. So these concentrations help me dose the bottles at small levels. And that's what I plan to do today.
So when in the process of making wine do you add, because you guys use the extracts, so they contain little to no fermentable sugars, added sugars. How does that like complement wine? Yeah,
so the Amoretti is added right at the end. This is right before filtration, right before fining. So we have basically a finished product, a finished wine, and we're adding Amoretti to it. Okay. So it's not something we do during the fermentations. It happens all the way at the end. It's like our blending trials, our tasting trials, all that stuff happens at the end of the process. And this wine is coming from this barrel in particular, and it's been aged for about, I'd say 16 months now. It'll age for longer. This is just a test batch, but the wine will age for almost 2 years before it's bottled.
Okay, so then after they sat for the designated time frame, then you extract from the barrels, and that's when you guys will decide for the ones that include Amoretti, what flavors are added.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So for this wine is a blend. So for the Amoretti that we're making, the Amoretti wine that we're making, it's called Night Watch. And I'm choosing a wine like it's mostly Syrah in this barrel, and I feel like Syrah is a good candidate because it's less acidic.
Okay.
I find that the acid in wine can be in competition with the chocolate flavor. So most of our wines are really lively, really acidic, but Syrah tends to be on the lower end of that. So I chose a blend that's predominantly Syrah.
Okay. So then, do you guys kind of play off of the existing flavor notes of the wine when pairing them with flavors from Amoretti?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Well, I also chose Syrah because it has like a lot of dessert characteristics. Our Syrah is actually a lot of blueberry in particular, which is really interesting. I get dark cherry, blueberry, maybe some plum, but I notice the blueberry the most. And I thought that would be really delicious with the chocolate, like a chocolate blueberry.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds good to me. So that's why I chose this particular wine. So Vanessa, would you like to try the base wine first? So before we do any blending, would you like to try the base wine?
Yeah, of course. Let's try it.
So I have my wine thief here, and we're doing it from this barrel on top.
I mean, after all, it wouldn't be fair to try to give an opinion on something that you didn't try first in its original form. So definitely.
And that's what's in those bottles there. So I already bottled up the wine in this barrel.
That is really neat. Is that how you guys extract to try to find if they're ready?
Yeah, well,
okay.
This is the wine thief. This is the tool that we use to get the wine from the barrels. I just like the name thief.
The name? Yeah, I was gonna say the name.
It makes me feel like a little unreputable. I'm stealing from the barrels. So this is just Syrah. It's actually a blend of a lot of things, but mostly Syrah.
So when we swirl it, what are we looking for here?
Good question. So when you evaluate, so this is unfinished wine, so it's not filtered. So if it looks a little bit cloudy, that's just the nature of unfinished wine.
Okay.
But it does have good color. So you first look for color. You kind of swirl it around. You're looking for body or weight of the wine.
Okay.
Usually if it coats the glass, it tends to be really, really full-bodied. Sometimes if it doesn't, it looks a little bit more like, oh, that might be like a lighter wine.
Okay.
So I'd first do that. So always good with sniff. Never be shy to get your whole nose in the glass. That's what I do. And you're just looking to take a few deep breaths or short breaths. And then after smelling it, you taste.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, I think this will make an excellent base for the chocolate wine.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's a little on the dry side, right? Is that how it's supposed to be?
It's 100%
okay.
dry.
Because I'm still learning, as I mentioned.
Yeah. So all of our wines start out 100% dry. Some of the whites, we might add or keep a little bit of residual sugar. Residual sugar is from the fermentation. So we might stop the fermentation early to keep a little sugar in there. But for all reds, they're just like completely dry. So we're starting from a dry base.
Perfect. So what flavor do you want to get started with here?
I think it would be fun to start with a chocolate chip because I haven't really experienced it in wine yet. Okay. So.
Neither have I, so it's the first to read.
Really? Oh, it's exciting. All right, so once again, this is a super concentrate. So it's 5 milliliters of Amoretti in 100 milliliters of wine, which is more than you would ever want to add. So all we're doing now, you and I, is we're just going to evaluate these big aromas and these big flavors and see just basically, do we like it or should we keep trying?
Okay.
Personally, what I'm looking for in this wine is something that's on the darker side, like dark chocolate, and it's more rich.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I'm going into this. I'm thinking, having that in the back of my mind.
Okay, so the flavor profile that we're trying to conquer today is a dark chocolate flavor profile.
Exactly.
Got it.
That's what I would like.
Okay.
So just a little bit. This should give us a good impression of what the chocolate chip tastes like.
Oh, the aromatics are...
Yeah, it should be incredibly aromatic at this point.
Definitely. It smells like when you freshly open a bag of chocolate chips.
Yeah. Or if you're melting chocolate chips for a recipe.
Yeah, or like melting, yes. That's probably a better.
Okay, you know what I get from this though? This is really interesting. I actually get vanilla. You know when you're...
Oh, I do smell that too.
You know when a lot of recipes like brownies you know, brownies are chocolate, but they also involve vanilla as part of the recipe. I'm getting a little bit of that.
Like a chocolatey vanilla?
Yeah.
Because I get the chocolate aromatics.
Oh, absolutely.
Then after it kind of processes, you start getting that settlement of vanilla.
Just a hint, yeah. Okay, I think it tastes very similar to the way it smells, which is
It does.
which
It
is
really
good.
does. Wow.
It definitely tastes like baking chocolate. I have to admit, it's a little on the lighter side, which is what I kind of expected from the chocolate chip.
Yeah,
compared to
it is a lot on the lighter side.
fudge or something like that.
Well, I see. So you have fudge, and then you have creme. That's the crème de cacao?
It is creme de cacao. Yeah. Why don't we do that next? Yeah. So this is another one I haven't experienced in wine yet.
So the crème de cacao is dark chocolate. That's the flavor profile that it's designed to give off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's see if this is the flavor profile that you, in your mind, are hoping to achieve. Because remember, we talked about flavor profiles.
Yeah.
And how we perceive them differently.
Yeah. This is fascinating to see how we perceive this differently than the first one.
I'm excited.
Oh wow. I mean, I'd say that I'm gonna struggle for an adjective here. It seems classier than the first. The first one reminds me of chocolate chip cookies.
Yes. It was much more of a dessert
Yeah.
aromatic.
This is like really elegant.
I do get that. It's more of a...
And more subtle too.
It is. I was gonna say it's
Which
almost...
I actually like.
You kind of get the chocolate and the wine aromatics. It's not just chocolate chip. Like with the chocolate chip, it was chocolate chip vanilla wine. This is kind of balanced a little more.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. This is honestly a little bit more what I'm looking for.
I think
we're getting closer.
I definitely taste the dark chocolate. I feel like for me, I get wine, and as it settles on the palate, the dark chocolate starts to become more present.
Yeah, I could see that. I think we're getting closer. I think after trying the fudge, I did this accidentally, but I really do feel like they're kind of ramping up.
Yeah.
They're starting to get a little bit more of what I think I'm looking for. I never know what I'm looking for, but I
You
kind of
never
have
know
an idea.
until you find it.
Exactly.
And you're like, haha, that's it, right there.
Here we go. This is the fudge.
I still can't get over that name of that tool.
thief?
The thief.
Oh, I love
It's
the
like,
thief.
It's perfect.
It's one of my favorite tools.
Like I'm not taking too much, just enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Just enough.
No one will ever know. if you
Nobody
use
will
a
ever
thief.
know I was here. Oh, this really, as soon as you smell it, it's fudge. It's fudge right up front.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Do you smell that?
Yeah, okay. So this is very much what I'm looking for.
This is great. But what I love too is that we haven't lost the smell of the wine. It's still there.
Yeah.
We're not masking it.
Honestly, this is a super concentrate. So after we start dosing these bottles, which are pure wine, and start incrementally adding this, then we'll get more of the fruit of the wine. Right now, the purpose of this is kind of the explosion of the Amoretti.
But even in the concentrated form,
Still
you
get the
still
wine.
get the wine notes.
Yeah, me too. This is really elegant. I think it's even more elegant. It reminds me more of dark chocolate than the creme de cacao. What I would like to do...
This is good. This is really good.
I brought 2 bottles for us to do. So I would like to just eliminate one. I'm going to go ahead and just say the chocolate chip. And I would like to do 2 of the blends here, one with the creme de cacao and the other with the fudge.
Let's do it.
Does that sound like a good plan?
You haven't even tried the fudge yet though. But I mean, I agree,
That's true.
because I've tried it, but do you still stand firm with that decision?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Good, I'm glad.
I'm actually most familiar with the fudge, so I kind of cheated. I knew, if you notice, like I was like, oh, I recognize it because we use it all the time, so yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna open the bottles and start flavoring between the fudge and the chocolate chip.
Exactly. Oh, no. So we narrowed it down to two.
That's right.
The fudge and the creme de cacao.
Okay.
So the chocolate chip was delicious, not what we're looking for. So these two, I think, are our best candidates. So we have 2 bottles, and we're gonna start dosing them in kind of a similar way.
Okay.
So every 20 milliliters of these is going to add just 1 milliliter of Amoretti. So a very, very, very small amount to these bottles. So that's the plan. That's the way that we kind of control our dosing.
So is this the process on how you find the ideal level of Amoretti for all of your guys' flavored wines?
Yeah, I mean,
Similar?
for wines, it's a little harder to do big test batches. So we do like to do test batches in bottles, but it becomes a dosing problem. Like, how do you get exactly 1 milliliter of Amoretti? So I like to do it this way. This is just my process, but I'm sure you could just buy a micro doser and do it that way as well. There's any number of ways you could do this.
Right, but for you guys in particular, this is the process. So any flavored wine that you guys have available went through this trial at some point in the making.
Yeah, I'm taking you through exactly what we do.
Okay.
It's like you're on my team.
Yes, I love it.
All right, so the one with the little, sorry, I bumped the table. The one with the little blue dot is gonna be our creme de cacao, so we don't get it mixed up, okay? Okay. So let's start with that first. And I'm gonna take it with a thief, and then I'm gonna measure it in the graduated cylinder.
Okay.
We just need 20 mils. Okay.
I was like, just a little bit more. There we go.
So 20 mils, once again, is just a single milliliter of Amoretti.
Okay.
It goes right in here. Perfect, just enough room.
Right.
And we're just gonna give it a little mix. Really don't want to shake wine, but this is all I do.
Just a little.
I just like give it like a very gentle, a gentle mix like this. And that probably should be good. The Amoretti incorporates really well.
It helps when you have the right version because we do offer oil soluble and water soluble. So it's important that you find what formulation works best with whatever it is you're trying to flavor. So water soluble works great in beverages.
Oh yeah, of course. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so let's try it. So this is only a single mil of the creme de cacao. I did add a baseline add of sugar, 5 grams per liter. So it has some sweetness in it as well.
Okay, so we have, go ahead. No, you tell me
in
what
our
we're
glass
doing.
right now, sorry, it's been a sec, so I'm reminding myself as well. In our glass is just 1 single milliliter of creme de cacao.
Okay.
Okay. And that's it. Oh, and it has 5 grams of sugar per liter. This is a 750 bottle, but I measured for liters. So I smell it right away.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's literally such a small amount, and I can already smell it.
There's like, at 1 milliliter, it's undeniably chocolate.
Yeah.
There would be no confusion about this. My question is it the chocolate that we're looking for?
No, let's find out. It's there.
It still tastes a lot like wine.
I was gonna say it's definitely a back note.
I think it needs weight, and that weight is sugar. I think that balancing it out, I still taste the acid as well. I think adding sugar kind of mitigates the acid, and it's gonna make the chocolate taste more chocolatey.
Definitely.
I think that's the next step.
Okay.
Let's add, so each one of these little guys is the 5 grams per liter.
So how much sugar is in this glass container?
So it's actually like 3.75 grams, but I just measure like for liters.
That's fine. However it works for you.
Yeah, it's a metric system, so my brain works in liters. So it's 5 grams per liter.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna add it in the funnel. I think that I want to taste with just the 1 add of Amoretti and just the 1 add of sugar.
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
see where we're at. And I'll do the same exact sort of
Back and forth.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you definitely don't want to like shake it up.
Yeah, I mean, wine can be easily oxidized. I don't know if it's like the best idea to shake it.
No,
it just feels wrong. So I'm gonna go with don't do that.
For me, like the concept of like the cork just like popping out somewhere and like hitting someone in like the eye is just too grand.
Oh, like champagne?
Yeah, you know, like they shake it and it like pops out. Yeah, I'd rather not.
They teach us how to like open champagne bottles without doing that, but it's not as much fun. It's nowhere near as much fun as making it like shoot off.
I expect that when any type of cork, we're like in our minds, you know, it's like, it's gonna pop off something crazy.
So just a reminder, so now this is 10 grams of sugar per liter. And this is just, once again, a single milliliter of the creme de cacao. Just
that
1
sugar,
mil.
for me, boosted the aromatics.
It will, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the chocolate, I smell the chocolate a lot more strong.
Yeah. It's starting to get deeper, more rich.
Maybe deeper is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. We're getting closer.
Yeah, definitely closer. It's not as acidic as it was before you added the sugar, and the aromatics are there. Yeah. I smell the chocolate to be a lot more predominant than the first time.
I think maybe the next step would be to bump both.
I agree.
See how increasing both the Amoretti and the sugar changes the way we perceive it.
I agree. I'm down. Let's do it. So we're gonna add how many more? So 1 milliliter, right, is what we're adding of Amoretti.
So of this concoction that I made before, I'm gonna do 20 mils, and that equals just a single milliliter of Amoretti.
Okay.
Okay. Add that back to our bottle, and then I'll get our sugar. Okay. Grab another one of these guys.
And then the amount of sugar that we're adding again is
5 more grams.
5 more grams.
So then we'll be at 15 grams per liter. Okay. And we'll shake it up again. I think we're getting pretty close.
I think we are too. We're definitely getting closer. And I can see, like, the more that I'm trying it incrementally as you're increasing things, I can see how it's changing the flavor profile. I understand, like, the depth of it. Like, the depth isn't so much of in reference to, like, the thickness, it's the depth of flavor.
Yeah. I think that it's, these are really small amounts of both the sugar and the Amoretti. And even in these like small little increments, it makes a huge difference.
It does, it really does. But it's interesting to see it firsthand in a wine process. Like usually, like I see you adding it and then tasting, you can literally taste the difference, which I find to be very intriguing.
I'm also curious about how the smell changes too. So I'm trying to note that as well. The thing about the Amoretti is that it almost smells good right from the get-go.
Yeah, some flavors smell phenomenal from the get-go, like you can smell them straight.
Yeah.
We have some flavors that don't smell very great up front, but only because it's such in a concentrated form. So then when you extract it and you actually use it, it smells what you would think it's supposed to smell like. But I've noticed a lot of the chocolates smell just like a rich, deep chocolate.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I want from Amoretti.
No,
I wanted to smell and taste very similar. The wine can be as complex. You know, that's my job. But as far as the Amoretti, I'm just looking for consistency, and that's what I always get. Yeah. Okay, so 15 grams per liter of sugar, and now that's just 2 little milliliters of crème de cacao.
Okay.
That's it.
Let's see. I don't know that made much of a difference.
I don't think so.
Just me? Okay.
I don't think it made. I don't think either the sugar or the Amoretti
made much of a difference.
So I think I would leave it at this. I would leave it at this, and then I would have other people taste. Like come ask, you know, my coworkers and this would be my starting point, and then we can kind of do the fine tuning after here. But I think this is a really good starting point. So
I think so too.
15 and 2.
Right.
And we could do the same exact process with the other wine.
All right, so we finished with the Crème de Cacao. We're gonna continue to work on the fudge and dose that and play around.
Exactly.
But for you guys that joined in, we do want to say thank you very much for tuning in and taking the time out of your day to watch us dose Amoretti Extracts in wine. Mark, thank you so much for opening up your work area and allowing us to invade your workspace, and also much appreciation for walking us through the process and showing others how easy it is to incorporate Amoretti in a wine application.
Of course, this is my pleasure. It was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun, and we've had a great time working with you. You're very knowledgeable, so I greatly appreciate all of the knowledge that you've shared with us, along with all of our viewers here at Amoretti. Thank you guys so much for joining in again. We've been walking through and checking out Westport Winery. So if you guys out there are on a road trip or looking to kind of find a great destination spot, head on over to Westport Winery and Resort here in Washington. Kim is wonderful and she will be more than happy to host you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Amoretti. You guys have a great rest of your day.